You have to understand that in Old Kingdom Egypt, only the Pharaoh and the high priest were allowed access to this information. They believed that you had a light body, they believed you had a physical body. And they believed you had to feed your physical body, but you also had to feed your light body. And what they said you fed your light body with is the Shefa food, which was actually the food of the light body. What is the Shefa food? In Egypt, they believed that the Pharaoh never died. They believed that the Pharaoh ascended the stairway to heaven, or Jacob's ladder. That actually he never died, he ascended to heaven. And do you know that they've never found the body of a high priest or a Pharaoh in Old Kingdom Egypt? They've never ever found the body of one of them. Because according to their text, they didn't die. They ascended the stairway to heaven. This is 2500 BC. It keeps asking this question, what then is it? Goes a little further and it says, which it produces the Shefa, food of the gods behind the shrine. And it goes on further. It says, O ye gods who are in the present, grant me your two arms. I shall come into existence among you. And then it asks the question, what then is it? It talks about the fighting between the good and the bad, and then it asks the question, what then is it? It's storing excrement in the face of Horus, who raises up the hair at the time of the storms in the sky, and then asks the question, what then is it? It is the right eye of Ra, in its raging against it hereafter. Thoth raises up the hair on the third eye, and he bringeth into the eye, living, healthy, and sound without defect. It's a perfecting. And then it asks the question down here once again, what then is it? It says, now the Hebrews call this food manna, for the particle man in our language is the asking of a question. What is it? So the word manna literally means in Hebrew a question. What is it? It's the very same exact words they were using in Old Kingdom Egypt. The what is it? There was actually 3 descriptions that they directly spoke of this. They called it the golden tear from the eye of Horus. Okay, you've all seen the eye of Horus with the eyelash and the golden tear. The eyelash is a symbol of the veil, or lifting of the veil, so that you have a clear eye, which they talked about lifting up the eyelash so the eye is clear. And then the golden tear is always associated with it. The gods were always depicted as having horns. The gods were always depicted as having horns. What did the horn stand for? The word hue is the high frequency sound. H-U-E. We are the human, the man who can hear the sound. What's the horn? It's a symbol of bringing the sound from up here down into the brain. This is the symbol for the gods, the ones who could hear the sound. The sound came down in their brain. Opening of the 8th chakra. And it's always depicted as 2 horns. Did you know that Moses, when they were doing the Sistine Chapel, that he wanted to paint horns on Moses' head? Because in the Bible it says he and he wanted to put the horns on his head, and the Pope just says, no way. That's Satan. We can't have that. Well, what they didn't understand is what the symbolism stood for, what it meant. And it was one who could hear the sound. Okay? Right here is the symbol for gold. Right here's the symbol for gold. Right here's the symbol for gold. Here's the symbol for gold. Here's the symbol for gold. These things that look like spiders here are the Egyptian symbol for gold. This thing right here is called the white bread, or the showbread. And they call it the white bread or the showbread. And they claim that this was made by Bezaleel the goldsmith. It actually wasn't called showbread. It was the bread of the presence of God. I shall come into your presence. It was the bread of the presence of the gods. This is Stairway to Heaven by Zachariah Sitchin. The term Ben in its hieroglyphic depiction, well, I'll be darned, here it is again. In time, indeed, acquired the connotations of virility and reproduction, and could well have been the source of the meaning male offspring that Ben has in Hebrew. In addition to virility and reproduction, the shrine also acquired the attributes of rejuvenation. This in turn gave rise to the legend of the Ben bird, which the Greeks who had visited Egypt called the phoenix. Breaking the God Spell by Neil Freer, introduced by Zachariah Sitchin. This is a book that was just sent to me by Neil Freer. I found several references in it that are very important. First of all, I told you that Remember the slide I showed you that platinum, gold, and mercury are the most deformed of all the elements? Okay, it says mercury is mentioned in the ancient texts, both Western and Eastern, related to power sources for flight. It says the Nephilim, who were the gods, had reached a state of technology that included some sort of atomic power, according to the accounts of their wars, and therefore knew of transmutation of elements. Okay, but let's go a little further. It's real specific, this next reference. Their physical immortality is consistently and explicitly related to an ingested substance. There is a record of pressure to conform being put on a member of their high council by threat of withholding the substance. Physical immortality is consistently and explicitly related to an ingested substance. What substance? What is it? This is Lapidus in pursuit of gold.
This is one of those examples. It's a great example of dog shit on the internet. Aspects of this touch on what apparently reflects reality. But if you listen long enough, a little over 3/4 of the way through this, you're going to hear a name pop up. And the name in question corrupted one too many things. He knocked out he shit out translations that didn't translate. And people ran with them. More importantly, he attached things that do reflect reality, or at least used to official narratives, to propaganda, to rabbit holes, to misdirection, disinformation, however I should put it. Adult fairy tales for fucking retards. And the name that I'm referring to, he's dead now, last time I checked, Zecharia Sitchin. You might have heard of him. And if you've ever seen this account, by the way, they reinstated my TikTok account. This guy has been posting shit long term. That's why he's got traction on here. I've barked at him numerous times. I haven't on this account because he has blocked me multiple times across accounts on the fucking internet. Yeah. Just for what it's worth. Every now and then he'll post something in here that does hold up and is free of propaganda, but it's
to this information.
More often than not, he leaves things on here that is and are misleading people, and most people out there aren't going to fucking question it, is my point. Most people out there are familiar with the name Zecharia Sitchin, so they'll run with it. They'll assume that this is okay. It's okay. It's uncorrupted. The reason I'm complaining is because it does involve Zecharia Sitchin, and you'd have to look into that. I just Googled something that it used to yield results. I used to be able to tell Google, hey, where was Zecharia Sitchin's home office? It also was a hell of a lot easier when he was alive, because he was relevant in that regard, walking among the living. But it hadn't changed too much after his death either. And now it does not bring up what I would like you guys to know, what I would like you guys to try to figure out. I didn't dive into it more to see what kind of games I have to play with Google to get what I'm looking for. Maybe some of you guys will. I mean, some of you guys might already know. I mean, Zecharia Sitchin's a piece of shit. 1 second. I also just ran through our masters shit out a movie. It's a musical in a bunker because our masters are laughing at us, and it's titled The End. And it is positively fucking horrible. Fucking horrible. Tried to run through some of it just to see if there's lesser magic in there. So far, I haven't spotted a single thing worth fucking picking up on that's mildly interesting. But it's a very, very long movie, and it is really, really, really bad. But what the fuck do I know? If you guys sat through this, thanks for sitting through this. Most people are probably into this jazz. Oh, look. They were ETs. That's some Zecharia Sitchin horse shit. And this is a slippery slope when you hear Anunnaki. But look, what's this guy shopping around? You can probably tell by looking at his account. You picking up what I'm putting down? People are fucking stupid, and most people have bought into these propaganda campaigns that do not reflect reality in any form or way, but this one in particular is paving the way for a one-world religion, and most people don't realize it.